Sete sectas espinhos com praus mais terríveis revelados. Terríveis tales everyone knew, but no one warned you. In Eldridge Falls, the shadows felt thicker than they should. Emily, a single mother of two, think she knew every scare the town could throw at her. Late night shifts at the diner, the dull, repetitive clang of pans, and the endless cycle of school drop-offs and meal prep made life feel downright mundane. But when you start hearing whispers in the trees, it's a different kind of fear creeping in, a fear that shakes your own little world to its core. One night, on her porch after another grueling shift, Emily discovered strange, jagged marks carved into the wood. They looked almost like letters, nothing she could read, but with a primal chill running from her spine to her fingertips. "What the hell?" she breathed, the words coming out like fog in the cool night air. As she pressed her hand against the marks, a sudden breeze rustled the nearby trees, carrying hollow laughs that made her skin prickle. Kids at school whispered about ghost stories, roots entwined with dark secrets hidden in those cursed woods, but she dismissed it as just bedtime tales. Until now. Every night, when she should have been peacefully asleep, she found herself drawn to that old tale of the 7 secrets. A child once vanished, and the townsfolk had taken the pact of silence to their graves. Local officials swept troubling questions under the rug like dirt, and everyone turned a blind eye when strange sightings came crawling back into the light. "You're not crazy," a friend had insisted. But the more Emily probed, the more her sanity felt stretched to its breaking point. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can, leave a like. It really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The smell of damp earth and decaying leaves filled her senses one twilight evening as she felt an urgent pull towards those accursed woods. As she ventured deeper, screams of laughter from children playing ringed in her ears, sharper at the edges like ice cutting through warmth. What had begun as innocent joy quickly twisted into apprehension when her son Jake went missing. Panic surged through her chest, squeezing like a vice with every minute that passed. She reached out to neighbors, her hands trembling as she explained, only to find blank expressions and averted gazes. A knot twisted in her gut. The dangerous silence felt fibrous, slithering into her thoughts. Through the darkened paths, she caught glimpses of strange symbols carved into the bark. Her heart raced, pushing her forward, even as dread flooded her senses. The woods felt alive, a malevolent force pressing against her, whispering secrets she longed to know. Then, through the shadows, the echoes of her son's laughter twinkled back at her, sweet yet sinister. Every step drew her deeper into the pulsating heart of darkness, where the specters of the 7 had begun to beckon her, each secret tethered directly to her family. With Jake's voice fading, a new realization clawed at her. She might not be running just for him, but from something she could barely understand, a truth that might shatter everything she believed.
Emily's heart pounded with a wild rhythm as she pressed further into the dark embrace of the woods. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the very earth was pulling her back, urging her to turn around before it was too late. The laughter, Jake's laughter, echoed through the gnarled trees, taunting her with a mixture of joy and despair. It was a melody that pierced her soul, enticing her toward an unknown horror. Branches clawed at her clothes, snagging like grasping fingers. Shadows danced just beyond her line of sight, flickering in and out like candles extinguished by sudden gusts of wind. "Jake!" she called out, her voice trembling, desperation clawing at her throat. No response, just the relentless wind and the whispering trees that seemed all too aware of her presence. Suddenly, the laughter stopped. The silence was so complete, so oppressive, Emily felt as if it could swallow her whole. She paused, collecting herself, the icy grip of terror creeping up her spine. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself. But calm felt far away in this living nightmare. Heart racing, she traced the symbols etched into the bark of nearby trees, their forms twisted and indecipherable, yet somehow familiar. A chill swept through her, and the air thickened around her. Every hair on her body stood on end, the primal instincts of survival kicking in. What if she was too late? What if the woods had already claimed Jake? Suddenly, a high-pitched shriek cut through the quiet. It was a sound that sent sharp daggers of fear slicing through her heart. It was not just a scream. There was something else behind it, something dark and guttural. Her instincts screamed at her to turn back, yet another part of her, a stirring hope, propelled her forward, pushing her deeper into the labyrinth of shadows. "Jake, please!" Her voice rang out again, desperate and cracked, pleading for a miracle that seemed farther away by the second. As she stumbled through the underbrush, a brief flash of movement caught her eye. Two small figures darting between the trunks. "Kids!" she thought, hope sparking in her chest. But as she drew closer, a sickening realization slithered into her mind. Those weren't the forms of children playing. They were silhouettes, twisted and unnatural, merging with the shadows, almost disappearing, as if they were part of the woods themselves. Emily's heart sank. The whispers had returned, louder and more insistent now, curling around her mind like a fog. She could almost make out their words, promises and threats intertwined in a haunting melody. They spoke of secrets buried deep within the earth, of laughter that belonged to the void. And then there was one voice that rose above the rest, a clear, childlike sound, echoing her own son's laughter, but twisted in a way that made her stomach churn. "Join us," it called, lilting and sweet, pulling her forward into the depths of darkness. Emily took a step back, her instincts raw with panic. "What do you want?" she shouted into the darkness, her voice trembling with fear. The woods seemed to respond, the laughter surging, wrapping her in a chilling embrace. In that moment, a shape shifted in her peripheral vision, a flash of bright eyes peering from behind a tree. Then it was gone. She was not alone. The part of her that fought back screamed to run, that this was all wrong. But what if this was the only chance to find Jake? Forcing her feet to move, she pressed on, driven by a horrifying need to uncover the truth. What awaited her in the deeper shadows? What had those secrets cost? Her heart raced as the darkness closed in around her. And then a whisper floated to her, laden with malice. "You'll never leave." The ground trembled beneath her, the trees leaned closer, and she felt the ground shift. The true nature of the woods revealed itself, and with it, the chilling question hung in the air. How far was she willing to go to save her son? The answers lay just ahead, hidden in the heart of Eldridge Falls, where the darkness was waiting to consume her whole. Emily stumbled forward, her breaths coming in ragged gasps. Each stride felt like stepping through a thick curtain of dread, the shadows pressing in closer, curling around her like serpents. The air smelled of damp earth and decay, a fetid mix that made her stomach churn. It wrapped around her throat, tightening as she fought the rising panic. "Help me!" Her voice cracked, echoing off unseen walls of shadow. "Please!" But silence greeted her. The only response was the rustling of leaves, whispering secrets that made her skin crawl. She wiped a clammy hand across her forehead, the cold sweat stinging her eyes, and tried to focus on anything but the oppressive darkness that seeped into her bones. Then, there it was again, the laughter. It twinkled through the trees, a euphoric sound that twisted with the air, dancing just out of reach. It beckoned to her. The sweetness of it made her heart flutter, but a deeper part of her recognized the danger wrapped in that charm. Was it truly Jake? Or was it the woods playing tricks on her, feeding off her desperation? "Jake! Jake!" She screamed again, the desperation surging back into her voice. "I'm coming!" She pressed forward, heart hammering in her chest. A flash of white appeared in the distance, a small figure, barely visible through the trees. Her breath caught. Could it be him? Was it hope breaking through the suffocating fog? "Jake!" she gasped, racing toward the glimmer. But as she drew closer, the figure twisted into something monstrous. Its limbs elongated and reshaped, each movement unnatural. It was not her son, but a mockery of a child, skin stretched too tight across its skeletal frame. It turned its head slowly, bright eyes gleaming with malice, its mouth stretching into a grin devoid of warmth. "Are you here to play?" it asked sweetly, the voice dripping with sickly sarcasm. "No!" Emily screamed, her heart plummeting. She staggered back, bumping into a gnarled tree, the rough bark scratching her skin. She spun around, racing back the way she came. But the paths blurred into a maze. All the trees looked alike, their branches intertwined like fingers clutching at her. "Join us!" The whispers arose again, echoing from every direction, wrapping around her mind like vines. They pulled her back, dragging her deeper into the abyss. She fought against them, stumbling, but every twist she took led her deeper into the forest's embrace. The laughter morphed into a cacophony, a storm of haunting giggles and cries, a gathering of countless children lost to the dark. Her resolve shattered, panic tearing at her insides. With a surge of adrenaline, she pushed forward, seeking the voice she recognized. "Jake!" she called again, desperation pouring from her soul. Then she lurched to a stop, breath caught in her throat. Ahead, the trees parted like curtains, revealing a clearing bathed in pale moonlight. In the center, surrounded by swirling mist, stood a stone altar, its surface etched with the same twisted symbols she had seen on the trees. Before it, shadows danced, coalescing into forms that flickered between reality and nightmare. With trembling hands, she stepped closer, desperate for any sign of her son. "Jake, are you here?" The raw edge of her voice cut through the laughter. A small figure broke through the shadows. Jake. He stood still, eyes wide, unblinking. Relief surged, but fear gripped her. There was something in his gaze, a dullness that extinguished the warmth she had once known. "Mom," he whispered, but even his voice felt foreign, distant. "Join us." The ground trembled again, and the altar begun to thrum, calling to her with an ancient pulse. Emily felt the call of Eldridge Falls wrap tighter around her. She faced a choice: rescue her son, lost to this malevolence, or join the whispers that pulsed through the air. Time hung like a noose above her, the choice closing in. What was the price of escape? And as tendrils from the shadows reached for her, the chilling question lingered. How far would she really go to save Jake before it was too late?
Emily's heart hammered as the shadows swayed, pulling at her feet like a tide trying to drag her under. The altar glowed with a sinister light, illuminating the twisted symbols that whispered of forbidden secrets. She felt the pulse beneath her skin sync with the rhythm of the altar, beckoning her closer. The ancient call wrapped around her, a web of despair tightly weaving around her heart. "Jake," she managed to croak, fighting against the weight of the shadows pressing her down. "We need to go, now!" Yet Jake stood immobile, his eyes strangely vacant. The innocence she once knew had vanished, replaced by something dark, a hollow semblance of her son. She didn't recognize this boy before her, caught between reality and whatever hellish place he had entered. "Mom," he repeated, but this time it sounded pained, like he was trapped behind glass. "You have to join us. It's fun." The sweetness of his voice was laced with something sinister that sent chills along her spine. "Fun?" she echoed, the word tasting like ash in her mouth. How could he speak such a word with that gaze? "This isn't fun, Jake. You need to come home." A flurry of laughter erupted around her, a chorus of childlike sing-song voices rising higher, drowning her rational thoughts. The whispers grew louder, encircling her like a swarm of angry bees. They promised joy, unending games, a place for every lost child to belong. But she knew the truth, all too well. "No!" she cried, shaking her head violently. "I won't let this happen." She made a sudden move, lunging toward Jake, but the shadows surged forward, wrapping around her ankles, pulling her back. She stumbled, fighting to stay on her feet, but her resolve wavered. "Please, Jake." His expression flickered, just for a moment, and for that brief second, she caught a glimpse of her son. "Help me." The word slipped past his lips like a whisper caught in a storm. Time froze. Emily's breath hitched as she felt the tide of terror rise within her. She took a deep breath, grasping the edge of the altar for support as the shadows clawed and reached for her, for him. She could lose him forever, or worse, lose herself to the darkness.
Her hands trembled against the cold stone, the ancient etchings tightening her grip with warnings of those who had fallen before. With a surge of clarity, she pulled her eyes from Jake and looked around her. The trees swayed, whispering secrets that felt more alive than the shadows themselves. "I won't give in," she shouted, shaking free of their grasp. With a sudden rush of strength, she raced toward Jake. The laughter pierced through her, sharp and mocking, but she pressed on. "Jake, I'm here!" As she neared him, she could feel the darkness seeping into her skin, threatening to drag her under. She reached for his hand, heart pounding in her chest. "Take my hand," she urged, desperate. "We can fight this together."
His eyes flickered, the dullness cracking, but just as her fingers brushed against his, an explosion of laughter erupted. Shadows lunged at her with a fury, the whispers turning into screams. "Join us!" they cried, and for a moment their voices became a frenzy. The ground shook beneath her. Suddenly, the air around her thickened, as if the forest itself was taking a breath. Emily gasped as the altar began to pulse violently, the marks on its surface flaring with the light of 1,000 dying stars. The whispers evolved into a roar, drowning out all thought. "Mom!" Jake's voice became a distant echo, swept away as she felt a sudden pull, as if the very ground beneath them wanted to swallow her whole. Determined, she shouted again, "I won't leave you!" And yet, as she fought, shadows began to swirl higher, consuming her once again in the darkness, threatening to unravel her resolve. Just as her vision blurred, she glimpsed Jake's face twisting into anger. "You don't understand," he shouted. "You can't pull me back." The connection faltered, leaving her reaching into an abyss where light faded. Emily found herself screaming, not just for him, but for her own soul as well. But impact was swift. The earth beneath her gave way, dragging her into the depths. The altar's pulse now a chaotic beat. The last thing she saw was Jake reaching out, his form swallowed by the shadows, and all she could think was how far she was willing to go to save him. Will she fight her way back, or will the sinister pull of darkness claim her too? A stillness fell as a chilling whisper slid through the air. One more must join. Emily fell into darkness, the weight of shadows crushing against her. A single thought filled her mind: find Jake. But the pull was relentless, dragging her deeper, deeper into a chasm where time lost all meaning. She twisted and turned, trying to reach out, clawing for light, for hope. The terror mingled with desperation. She had to fight. Suddenly, she felt a snap, a surge of energy jolting through her body. The darkness faltered just long enough for her to take a breath. A memory surfaced, Jake's laughter, bright and innocent, before everything twisted into nightmares. "I won't forget you," she whispered, her voice barely audible against the howling void. With that thought, a fire ignited within her. She pushed against the force dragging her, feeling the shadows weaken. "I'm coming, Jake!" she cried out, her voice echoing like thunder, reverberating through the darkness. But instead of pulling her up, the shadows fought back with fierce fury. They lashed out, striking like venomous snakes, wrapping tighter around her limbs. The whispers became screams, a cacophony of lost souls wailing for freedom.
"Leave her! Let her drown!" they shrieked, their voices slicing through the air like knives. "Stop!" Emily yelled, thrashing wildly. Her heart raced, pounding a desperate rhythm against the silence. The shadows stirred, churning wildly beneath the canopy of gnarled trees. They seemed to whisper and hiss, rhythmically enveloping her, taunting her with promises of despair. The air grew heavy, thick with a kind of darkness that buzzed with malevolence. Emily steeled herself, forcing her feet to move despite the fear paralyzing her. A low growl rippled through the darkness, vibrating through the ground beneath her. She turned, eyes wide, scanning the tree line for any sign of movement. That sound, so deep and primal, was something she never wanted to hear again. "Jake, where are you?" She could feel herself losing hope, each heartbeat echoing louder, drowning out reason. Suddenly, a figure lunged from the shadows, a flash of movement so unexpected that Emily stumbled backward. She braced herself, hands raised, ready to strike against whatever creature might attack next. But as she squinted into the gloom, she froze. The figure was a boy, his features barely discernible. "Mom!" The voice was the same she had heard before. Fear gripped her heart. "Please help me." "Jake!" Relief mingled with terror as she leaped forward. Yet as she rushed closer, she felt the chill of the air wrap tighter around her, like icy fingers drawing her back. It wasn't him. It couldn't be. The figure's face distorted, wavering like light against dark water. She gasped, stumbling to a halt. "What's wrong with you?" The boy's skin turned shadowy, eyes sunken and hollow. "You need to join us, Mom. It's safe here." Emily's stomach twisted. "No, I won't." The words came out as a shout, fueled by desperation. She took a step back, her instinct screaming to run. "Join the others." The figure extended an arm, finger pointing toward the altar. Suddenly, shadows erupted from it, forming indistinct forms that surrounded her. Lost souls, those who had given in, those who were now damned. Their faces flickered like sparks, each one a story ended too soon. "Stop!" Emily cried, raising a hand to shield her eyes from the swarm. The shadows howled, a wind that carried voices, shrieks of forgotten children pleading for help. Each cry pulled her deeper into their nightmare. "What was I supposed to do?" she yelled into the chaos. They echoed back with relentless fury. "You must choose." A part of her still clung to the thought of Jake, the boy who had brought light into her life. But the shadows pressed in, promising safety and surrender. Emily felt her resolve waver. What if this was the only way to save her son? Each heartbeat thundered in her ears, every second stretching into infinity. Around her, the shadows danced, preparing to consume her whole. She closed her eyes, trying to think. She had fought so hard to escape. But for what? To lose Jake now? Just then, the air shifted again, and a piercing scream shattered the night. It came from a direction deeper in the forest, the kind of scream that sliced through flesh and bone, desperate and raw. Emily panicked once more. "Jake!" she screamed, the name tearing from her lips. Her heart raced as she tore through the shadows, driven by an instinct far greater than fear. The laughter was gone, replaced by trembling echoes at the edges of her mind. In that moment, she realized how deep they were in this darkness. But behind it, something else was waiting, something greater than the shadows. And just beyond, she swore she saw a flicker of light near the altar, dancing like hope amidst despair. Her pulse quickened. Could it be Jake? What would she risk to find him? Or would stepping further into the darkness lead to both their ends? Emily stumbled forward, her instincts pulling her toward that flicker of light. The shadows twisted and coiled around her waist, tugging her back like a child refusing to leave its playground. Cold panic gripped her heart, but she pushed on, each step dragging her deeper into a world where nothing felt safe. The scream had pierced the fog of her thoughts, igniting a fierce determination. "I'm coming, Jake!" she shouted into the darkness, her voice cracking, mingling with the wails of the forgotten souls who echoed through the trees. The light flickered again, brighter this time, urging her closer. It felt alive, pulsing like a heartbeat amidst the shadows. What would it reveal? The air around her grew thick, heavy with memories she did not wish to unearth, but felt instinctively drawn to. "Emily," a voice whispered, barely above a breath. It was closer now, chilling, intimate. The tone tugged at buried corners of her mind. "Join us." It was familiar yet distorted, a taunting echo of Jake's melodic laughter. Emily shook her head, clenching her fists. No, she wouldn't lose herself to the storm of shadows. But as she reached the altar, her heart sank. The light was not the warm reprieve she'd hoped for. Instead, it unveiled a grotesque tableau, an endless cycle of lost souls, faces twisted in torment, arms outstretched like grotesque marionettes. And there, at the forefront, was a familiar figure, a boy with wild hair and bright eyes that once shone with mischief. "Mom!" Jake's voice rang out again, desperation laced within it. "You have to let go!" "Jake!" she screamed, lunging forward. But the shadows surged, swallowing the altar whole. "Please, don't! I've come for you!" He was fading, the laughter and warmth receding. "It's too late. They know you're here." A terror she had never known flooded Emily's veins, her breath quickening. She felt a presence behind her, a looming darkness that seemed to breathe down her neck. The forest creaked and groaned as fragments of memories shattered in the abyss. Was her mind unraveling? "Don't fight it," the shadows hissed, their whispers wrapping around her like chains. "Join the others. It's safe here, together." Their promises dripped like honey, sweetening her fear. But the flicker of hope, the very image of her son, held her steady, a beacon against the darkness. "Thorn," she glanced back at Jake, not the boy she knew, but rather an echo of what the darkness had claimed. "Emily!" he cried, desperation breaking through. "Don't listen to them!" A frantic thought shot through her mind. Was this truly Jake, or another cruel ruse from the darkness? The shadows loomed higher, spinning tighter, and she felt their icy breath against her skin. "I can't lose you again!" She reached out, stretching her fingers toward the light, to him. But the space between them stretched impossibly, the darkness shrieking louder, drowning out her pleas. In the end, It's your choice." The chorus of voices melded into one, a cacophony of despair. "Choose." Emily felt her world tilting. The whispering shadows tugged at her sanity, threatening to envelop her. And then she realized they were all around her, those pleas for release growing louder, merging into a grotesque symphony that would drown her hope. The altar flickered one last time, and in that blinding moment, she saw something behind the dark mass, a glimmer of an escape, a hidden path. But would it lead her to Jake, or deeper into the abyss? Panic surged as she faced the fork ahead. Fear soared within her. What lay down that path? Would embracing the light lead her to her son, or would it seal their fates forever? Now, all that was left was a choice, and the ever-looming darkness awaited her decision. The darkness pulsed around Emily like a living thing, a vacuum eager to swallow her whole. She glanced back at Jake, his face now a mask of frantic fear. "Mom, please!" The shadows began to crawl closer, tendrils of black wrapping around his wrists as if trying to pull him deeper into the abyss. "What do I do?" she screamed, desperation clawing at her throat. The space between them pulsed with uncertainty, each heartbeat echoing like a drum in the stillness. "Choose the path, Mom," Jake's voice broke, pleading. "Trust me." Emily's heart raced as she forced herself to confront the fear swirling within. Should she take the path that gleamed with an unsettling light, or stay where she could still grasp the echo of her son? Shadows flickered around her, urging her to follow them, painting promises of warmth, safety, belonging. But those promises were laced with malice, woven into fabric of despair. The deeper the shadows crept, the more she heard their soft, seductive murmurs. "Leave behind the pain. Join us." She wouldn't become a part of this nightmare. As the shadows lunged toward her, Emily stumbled toward the light, ready to defy the darkness. But as she sprinted forward, the light dimmed, obscured only by malignant laughter echoing in her ears. With every step, the world around her darkened, as if the shadows were taking their toll. She felt faint, her skin cold, heartbeat racing. Each inhale tasted of ash and despair, suffocating. "Emily!" Jake's voice grew weaker, desperation turning to fear. The blackness seemed to close in on him, a trap. "Help me!" "No!" she cried, the panic surging again as she launched toward the flickering light. But it rippled like an illusion. The closer she neared, the further it seemed to slide away. The whispers grew louder, drowning her thoughts. "Stay, stay with us. You're one of us." Their voices blended in unison, pulling her mind apart. They spoke of warmth, of silent promises, of an eternal escape. All she had to do was let go. "No!" Tears streamed down her face, the warm remnants of hope contrasting against the icy grip of shadows around her. She felt her reality splintering, as if her very soul was being tugged into the void, layers of her identity peeling away with each heartbeat. Just as darkness threatened to take her completely, she caught a glimpse of her son, eyes wide with terror. His outline pulsed, flickered like a light bulb on the verge of burning out. "Mom, you can do it!" The sight pulled Emily from the brink, a surge of raw love igniting her spirit. I will save you, Jake. She lunged again toward him, ignoring the shadows clawing at her, ripping at her clothes, whispering her name with twisted entreaties. With one last desperate stride, she reached out and seized his hand. The darkness screamed, a visceral wave of agony crashing around them. A blinding light erupted from their clasped hands, illuminating the twisted forest, shattering the shadows momentarily. Emily gasped as warmth enveloped her. Time slowed, the world around them twisting. Hold on, Jake. But the momentary relief shattered as the light flickered again, revealing not safety, but a vision of what lay ahead. A horrifying image of failure loomed, herself in shackles, joining the wailing lost souls around them, forever trapped in darkness. "Mom!" Jake's grip slackened, his terrified eyes wide as the shadows snaked up around him again. "No!" With horror clawing at her throat, she felt the grip of choice constrict again. There was another path, cloaked in the thickest darkness, leading away from the light. What if it was the secret to saving Jake? Or would it lead only to greater despair? Heart pounding, Emily faced the unending depths of the forest. Was she about to dive deeper into ruin, or could this risky direction offer a chance to retrieve her son? As the light dimmed once more, leaving only the break in shadows, an unsettling question lingered. What consequences would she endure if she chose the other path? The trees whispered, their breath a chilling daze. The choice was hers alone. Would she risk it all for the chance at salvation, or would silence claim them both? The forest held its breath as Emily took her first step, uncertainty rippling in the air, the shadows looming ever closer behind. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she reluctantly stepped into the yawning darkness. The air was thick, oppressive, like fog creeping into her lungs.
Every instinct screamed at her to retreat, to cling to the flicker of light behind her, but Jake was slipping away. She couldn't let that happen. Each footfall echoed, swallowed by the vastness. The darkness enveloped her, swallowing her senses. There was no warmth here. The cold crept into her bones. The whispering shadows were closer now, sliding along her arms, coiling like snakes, promising things she dared not consider. "Mom, please!" Jake's voice came again, fainter, mixed with the chilling murmur of shadows. They called to her, offering sweet, deceptive dreams wrapped in silk, urging her to surrender. "Join us!" No! Her heart pounded faster. Gritting her teeth, she tried to stay focused. She needed to find the source of Jake's fading voice. As she tread deeper, a thing like a hand grabbed her ankle, cold, clammy, unyielding. She flinched but pressed on. The ground felt alive beneath her feet, thrumming with a pulse that matched her frantic heartbeat. "Jake!" she called out, her voice cracking. "Over here!" He sounded closer now, a beacon of hope shining dimly in the encompassing dread. Emily pushed forward, heart racing, each step feeling heavier than the last. The shadows seemed to tug at her hair, pulling at her mind. "You don't want to save him," they hissed. "You'll be free to be one of us." Fighting the voices, she strained forward. A flicker of her son's face broke through the suffocating darkness, a brief, shining moment of clarity among chaos.
Tears spilled down her cheeks. She couldn't lose him. And then she stumbled upon it. An old, gnarled tree, its bark twisted in unnatural ways. The air hummed, charged with energy, the shadows swirling around it like a living storm. A groan echoed as the tree frame contorted, revealing a grotesque hollow, almost like a beckoning mouth. "Mom!" Jake cried again, his voice resonating from within. "Help me!" Instinct kicked in. Emily rushed to the base of the tree. Cold tendrils slithered up her legs, tightening as she leaned closer. Her heart raced against the pulsing blackness surrounding her. She reached toward the opening, but the tree snapped its trunk like jaws slamming shut. "Join us," they whispered again, stronger this time. The shadows wrapped themselves around her waist, pulling her back. "No!" she screamed, fighting against their icy grip. Finally, from the depths of that cursed tree, a figure emerged. Shrouded in darkness, yet exuding an undeniable familiarity. It was her own voice, echoing with distorted menace. "The price of passage is steep, Emily. Will you pay it?" "Let him go," she shouted, fury surging in her veins. The shadows tightened their hold, pulling at her limbs, trying to decipher the fear flickering like a candle. "Mom!" Jake's voice broke through. The figure smirked, revealing shadows in the shape of a face, morphing into her own. "You can't save him without sacrificing something precious." Emily hesitated, her thoughts spiraling into darkness.
What did they want from her? The shadows hissed around her, flicking at her face like coiling vines. She thought of the shackles, the fear that clutched her heart at the glimpse of failure. "Choose, choose," the words whispered and reverberated, creating an eerie rhythm, each syllable punctuated by creeping dread. Heart hammering in her chest, she thought of her son, his laughter, his smile. Wasn't he worth the ultimate sacrifice? But in that moment, another thought struck her, a visceral terror for her own soul. "Mom!" Jake cried louder now, desperation heightening. Her thoughts, suspended in the darkness, felt like a fragile thread. Would she trade everything for a chance to save him? The shadows grinned, eager for her answer. Emily's next step felt monumental, poised on the brink of an abyss. The shadows twitched eagerly at her ankles, their whispers clawing at her resolve. She drew a breath, tasting both ash and fire on her tongue. "Okay, just tell me what you need," she shouted, the words raw, desperate, surrendering to the dark allure. All shadows paused, silence enveloping the forest. Then the whispers began again, counsel of the damned, threading silently in the wind. "We can't save him until you save yourself." Emily's heart dropped, realization crashing like a wave. What did they mean? Was it her soul at stake, or the very essence of who she was? The choice loomed before her, darkness shifting, the shadows hungry for her answer. She was teetering on the edge of fate. The forest waited with bated breath. Could she really walk away from everything she knew to forge a new path? Or was this the spiral into despair that had claimed others before her?
The question lingered in the air like a stench, threatening to swallow her whole, and the shadows lunged forward again, demanding a choice. Then the world spun, and the darkness absorbed her scream. Emily felt herself spinning through an endless cavern of shadows, frantically grasping for answers in the suffocating void. Panic clawed at her throat. What had she done? She was lost. The whispers rose above her like a storm, drowning her in swirling despair. "You chose! You chose!" they chanted, the rhythm pulsing like a heartbeat. "Jake, I'm coming!" she called out, her heart ripping with every breath. But her voice sounded small, swallowed by darkness echoing around her. Then something dawned within her, a flicker of the boundless love she felt for her son, a fire igniting amidst despair. "No," she whispered fiercely, "I won't lose you. I will fight." Suddenly, she felt a jolt, as if the shadows recoiled from her flame. "You cannot resist," a voice hissed from the depths, echoing her fears. It was her own voice, twisted through the whispers that seemed to coil tighter around her soul. She steeled herself. "I refuse to let you take him." Drawing on every ounce of strength, she pictured Jake, his laughter, the innocence that wrapped around his very existence.
With that image fueling her resolve, Emily pushed back against the darkness swirling around her. The shadows shrieked, anger flaring in their indignant wails as she fought against them, tearing her way through an invisible barrier, pressing in tightly. "Let him go!" she screamed, recognizing that the true battle lay not just within the shadows, but in her own heart. In that moment of clarity, she dove deeper into the darkness, reaching for Jake's tether that twinkled like a star amidst chaos. The oppressive weight of shadows pulled at her, trying to suffocate the glow of hope. "I'm not giving up," she vowed. Each step felt like pushing against a tide, the shadows roiling and snapping around her like wild beasts. The closer she got to the warmth embedded in the heart of the darkness, the more familiar she became to herself. It wasn't just Jake's life at stake, it was her own. The very essence of who she was, the love and the fighting spirit that had refused to wither, propelled her toward the warm light ahead. Up ahead, a faint shimmer illuminated the pitch-black landscape. There, the altar pulsed with life, silencing the chaotic whispers momentarily, a beacon of hope amidst despair. "Mom," Jake's voice sounded clearer now, desperate and fearless. "Help me!" Emily's heart raced. She pressed forward, the altar growing larger, the shadows swirling in furious indignation around her. The gnarled bark twisted, shapes forming into shattered faces of those who had fallen before, warnings of a fate that awaited her if she didn't choose wisely. But no, this time was different. The shadows could wrap around her, threaten her, scream their promises, but they wouldn't take what was hers. Jake needed her. She needed him. Her outstretched hand clutched the altar's edge, feeling the pulse of ancient power thrumming beneath her skin. With a surge of determination, gripping her will like a lifeline, Emily let out a primal shout. "Jake, trust me!" The shadows hissed, a malevolent roar that threatened to drown her. "You belong to the darkness. You cannot pull your son from our grasp."
"No! We are stronger together!" she cried, a fiery reckoning emanating from her very core. The air thickened as she focused on Jake's face, the familiar depths of his eyes. A spark ignited within, the connection of love allowing her to pierce through the dark fabric of despair. "Join us!" the shadows screamed, their tormented voices rising to a deafening crescendo, wrapping around her like barbed wire. For a moment, doubt flickered within her, but she chose to remember all that she would lose, the warmth of his laughter, the innocence of a child whose light had not yet dimmed. A strange calm enveloped her as the shadows became agitated, whirling and twisting with fury. She felt shadows clawing at her, dragging her down, but in the midst of the chaos, Emily felt the altar pulse with power at her fingertips.
With every ounce of strength she could muster, she shouted defiantly, "This ends now!" and plunged her hand into the symbols carved across the altar's cold surface, igniting the dormant energy within. A blinding light exploded around her, radiating from her heart as it collided with the shadows. The cacophony of shrieks turned into anguished cries, the darkness lurching back, revealing what had been hidden beneath its ominous veil. "Jake!" she yelled, her voice reverberating through the space, seems to break through the hold on him. As the light chased the shadows away, she could see him clearer now, struggling against the tendrils that snaked around him. "Mom!" Jake called again, his voice ringing with hope, clarity breaking through the fog of despair. Emily's heart surged as she saw him pushing against the darkness, fighting to free himself. "You can do it!" she shouted, knowing her little boy still had that spark of light deep inside him. "Fight back!" With the shadows scattering, his eyes flickered with recognition. He was coming back to her. "Reach for me, Jake!" He took a step forward, arms outstretched. The brightness of the light glimmered, illuminating his small frame against the oppressive dark. In a moment suspended in time, she relished the warmth of their connection, like an anchor in the storm. With a final surge, he lunged toward her, their fingers meeting the moment their bonds rejoined. Together, with the spilling light washing over them, they pulled against the darkness that had claimed so many souls before. And then, in an electrifying instant, the shadows erupted, vanishing into the void with anguished howls. As the darkness receded, their familiar world returned, the forest transformed into a sliver of glowing warmth. Moments later, they stood together, the weight of their shared darkness lifted like a shroud. "Mom, we did it!" Jake exclaimed, his smile radiant, brighter than any sunlight she had ever seen. She scooped him into a tight embrace, relief flooding her with warmth, laughter bubbling from her lips. "I'll always fight for you, my brave boy." Around them, the forest shifted, bands of golden sunlight breaking through the trees. A new chapter had begun. As they stepped forward together, the shadows receded into the past, vanishing with the whispered secrets of the woods. Only then did she realize the depth of their victory, the love and courage to face the darkness head-on, binding them forever against the terrors that had once threatened to swallow them whole. "Let's go home," Emily whispered, hand clasped tightly in Jake's, the echoes of their shared strength lighting the way. This was not just their victory. It was a promise, a pledge to face whatever came next, together. So,
here's what I want you to do. If you loved this conclusion, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second. Hit that like button right now to feed the algorithm so others can enjoy these stories too.
And I want to hear from you. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories. What did you think? What did you feel? Lastly, help spread the word. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is everything. Let's keep this community strong.